name's Kathy A. And this is Bud Fisher, my husband. Hello.
Hello, yes, and welcome to it.
We just got back from Trekonderoga, New York for a Star Trek convention of sorts called Trekonderoga. This is the third
year.
Yeah, the third year of it.
Yes.
And we are true fans, and we thought we'd share our experience with you.
We actually started finding out about the location of the Star Trek series as a fan film that Kathy happened to read in the paper that they filmed in New York. So we went online and watched all their
all the
films.
fan films, yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job. They were trying to complete the original mission. James Cawley, who I think you talk about in this, did a phenomenal job in making the sets from the original papers and spending the time going through the original 79 Star Trek episodes and making sure every wall was identical to what was in the first series, down to remolding casts and things like that. It was incredible.
Yeah, 3D printing, and he even had special fabric produced at a very high cost to imitate the fabric that was in the sick bay. So, without further ado, let's go through the Trekonderoga experience. So the story about Trekonderoga really begins with James Cawley. Now, James grew up in a little town way up in the Adirondack Mountain area of New York, where Lake George and Lake Champlain grace some of the most breathtaking scenery in North America. Trekonderoga, New York, is steeped in history and played a big role in our Revolutionary War. A large fort still stands there and makes an interesting destination point on its own. Trekonderoga is, in James's words, just like Mayberry, a quaint small town full of friendly people who care about each other. Little diners, bakeries, antique shops line the tiny main street. James grew up watching Star Trek in the 1960s and was so much a fan, his father built him his own bridge in the basement so he and his friends could play Star Trek games. James's parents were very musical, and there were lots of Elvis records that James enjoyed singing along with. He would later take this love of Elvis on the road to become one of the top Elvis impersonators in the world. In his travels, James met up with Star Trek set designers and collectors and decided to pursue his passion, Star Trek, by transforming an old grocery store building into studio sets that look like the original Star Trek series, or TOS in nerdspeak. James began filming fan films, a popular new YouTube phenomenon where fans would pretend to be Star Trek characters and create episodes and put them up on YouTube. When friends and family visited the sets, they were really excited to just see how the sets were made, and the idea to sell tours came to James, and soon he opened the Star Trek Original Series set tours, welcoming thousands of tourists into their little town. Friends and Star Trek fans were brought on board to continue building rooms and tweaking each detail of every set shown on the series ship. You could almost feel Captain Kirk and the team around you as you walked through the various rooms and halls. No detail was missed. Bud and I have taken this tour 7 times between us, and we learned something new with each tour. Even on the 7th tour, we both looked at each other and said, "I never knew that." They encourage you to take photographs too, but this year, because they are now licensed, no video cameras are allowed in the sets. A convention-like festival of sorts was planned, a takeoff on the town name, Trekonderoga. In 2015, the first Trekonderoga, and in 2016, the second, and this, the 2017, is the third. So venturing off from Connecticut, we drove over 3.5 hours to arrive in Trekonderoga. We registered at the studio and enjoyed looking at one of James's many vehicles. Yes, he collects cars, and this was the original Batmobile. It was just parked outside. It was really great. We brought 2 dinner tickets, so we enjoyed a meal with around 200 other Star Trek fans in a nearby hotel.
Party! Well, anyways, I'm glad you're all here. The thing to remember is just to have a good time. That's what this is all about. This is about not so much a convention, but it's about a group of friends getting together year after year, and the friends just keep getting bigger and bigger, right? Yeah. So, he has licensed the set tour. It's the official set tour. It's the only place in the world that he can go do this, which is pretty cool. And they just licensed Star Trek Film Academy here. So, if you haven't heard about that, we're going to be able to, if you need any questions answered or just want to visit, don't hesitate to come up to me. I hope your dinner's great. I hope your tour's great. I hope Shy doesn't scare you off from the show tomorrow night.
Only last thing to tell you, after you finish your salads, our lovely hotel liaison, Allison, will call you by your table number to come up to our lovely buffet, one at a time. And after everyone has eaten, she will announce second course, seconds. So please, show some discipline. Actors.
Our table companions were fabulous, and we laughed and joked throughout while people came over to have their photo taken with my husband. Two vendors sat with us. They are from the company Heroes in Action. And Mark, who is the president, had us in stitches all night. You never think about Amazon.com sellers as being real people, but these guys were just great. Try to check them out on Amazon and eBay next time you're looking for any kind of memorabilia. They sell everything, and even Games of Thrones kind of things. They even had a variety of different sized tribbles. Nichols arrived and sat with James, looking at old photos and scrapbooks of herself and laughing with him.
Well, I had a bag for a second, and they cut it like a quarter off.
She then was moved to a chair to view the video they played, all about the insider view of how they created the sets.
One of the things that really amazed us, because we did recreate some of the sets, a lot of sets for different incarnations of Star Trek, but we never did recreate the transporter room, sick bay, and engineering. And so those were new to us. And for me, when I walked into this room, the space seemed a lot smaller than when I saw it on TV. But as you'll notice, as you go through and you take your photos, when you look through the viewfinder, the lens expands the set. And that's very much what they do. They use
We enjoyed socializing with other fans and met some great people. So how did I do that Klingon makeup on my husband? Here's a demo. So when I decided to do Bud's Klingon makeup, he has very sensitive skin and he has reactions very easily to lots of different types of products. So I decided to go with a base makeup that you can get in any drugstore. I got a slightly darker color than his own skin tone, and I used that as a base. And what I did was I just took a flat mixing plate. You can use any kind of a blade or anything like that. And I put enough to kind of, I think, do both sides of his face. I started off with the makeup itself. And then what I did was I scraped off, using the end of my eye brush, I just scraped out eyeshadow that was a dark color. And I scraped it in there and I blended it with a Q-tip so that I could have a nice mixture. And there is a little bit of green. I had his mask and I matched the color of the mask by swatching it on his face. So you can see I'm just kind of scraping that all off. And then I used and it didn't come out the same any 2 days I used it, but what I did was I just kind of worked with it and just added a little bit of lighter stuff if it was too dark, and I added a little bit more eyeshadow if it was too light. And if it wasn't green enough, I added a little more of the green eyeshadow. So I made a nice mixture like this. And I used a Beauty Blender sponge and sponged it into his face really, really well. At the end of his makeup session, I sprayed some of this finishing spray, and that kind of held it in. It was a very hot, sweaty day. We were nervous. The costume was hot, making it even worse. And I also lined his eyes with a dark brown eyeliner, and I lined his lips with that as well. And then I just kept making more makeup and adding it to him. And I did put a little bit of powder, and this is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. So it worked out really well, and people were pretty impressed with how nicely the makeup worked out. And I think using the black eyeliner to make lines in his face and then smudge them, or smear them, as he would say, into his face, it made a great contrast to his face. So Bud's headpiece actually was a gift from his son, who had worn this at Halloween time in the 1990s. This is a beautiful headset, and what makes it different than the ones that come out nowadays, like you can get on Amazon or whatever, is that the hair is much fuller and wilder than what appears in the modern day Klingon mask headpieces. So what I did was I matched the color up, and you can see I could get pretty close, and using black lines with the eyeliner and smearing them into the makeup and adding a little bit of the green, I could actually get so close to the look of the mask itself that people were, they would look at him twice. They would see maybe the ridge on the mask, but I think it really worked out well. So that is how I did the Klingon makeup. Sorry.
All right.
And what about my makeup? What did I bring? Let me tell you. This is 3 days of very hot sun, sweating, stress, and this is what I brought. In the morning, Bud and I had a photo shoot scheduled on the bridge. There was a long line, but James was gracious and shook hands and asked Bud what happened to his girl because she had tribbles all over her. We noticed that James had hurt his hand somehow. It was wrapped in ice, and we wondered how he was going to be able to do his concert that same evening. Carl Sheldon, who works at the set, looks so much like Mr. Scott, everybody thinks he is Mr. Scott. He greeted everyone in
My wife, Kathy.
Hi, how are you? Oh my
This
goodness.
is Carl.
It's nice to meet you, Carl.
Or Scotty, as we all love him.
Hi. Good morning.
Our bridge photos were shot with Nichols and Walter Koenig and Carl in the background. Now, Nichols, she portrayed Lieutenant Uhura in the original 1960s series, and it was groundbreaking. Not only was an African American playing the role of an important member of the crew, but she was also a woman. This inspired me as a little girl to dream about a career other than being a mom and housewife only. Nichelle was a talented singer and dancer and had high hopes after the first season to leave the show and become a Broadway star. But Dr. Martin Luther King, who was a huge Star Trek fan and only allowed his children to watch Star Trek on TV, met her at a convention and asked her to stay on the Star Trek set because she was such a positive role model for African Americans. She remained on the show only because of that conversation. By the way, she and Captain Kirk shared network TV's very first interracial kiss. It was quite shocking for the time. When I arrived on the set for my photo, I told Walter Koenig that I'd spent many allowances on 16 magazines for pinups of him because he was quite a heartthrob in the 1960s. They had made him wear a beetle wig so that he could rival the popularity of the Monkees' Davy Jones, who was a big heartthrob of the time as well.
Guys, remember to leave a path for people exiting, please.
Guys, could you move it down over this way so people can get out?
My photo had to be taken twice because the first one, Nichelle saw my tribbles and she cracked up. She just busted out laughing and the whole set laughed. It is one of my fondest memories of this weekend. Visiting the vendor hall was a lot of fun. Everything from Klingon assault groups, Trek photo booths where you could change the background if you like, pot holders, dolls, and games, and all kinds of sets that you could pose in. It was amazing, and there were friendly people.
Real men's Klingon disruptors.
Yeah, so, one of my kids gave it to me last year for Father's Day.
Oh, fantastic.
They knew I had a costume, so.
Are you in a fan club?
I am in the Klingon Assault Force
Okay.
on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Okay, on Facebook. All right.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Do they have like a group and meetings and stuff like that?
No, it's just.
Here, take my card.
Philippe, pour parler au Trek, donc toujours à Trekonderoga, New York. Et aujourd'hui, je suis avec des membres en règle du CAG, donc le Klingon Assault, or, yeah.
Yes, Klingon Assault.
Donc, full disclosure, à l'époque, j'ai fait partie d'un groupe de Klingon moi-même, donc je suis vraiment heureux de retrouver des collègues. Donc, we talked yesterday, and you told me you had a previous history with CAG, like a long time ago. So can you start with you from there?
Oh my. Well, I was bored. No, I was a member of CAG over 28 years ago, back in the 90s. And I eventually, I left CAG at 98 to pursue other interests. Gallivanting and drinking and stuff like that. And then afterwards, after 28 years, I decided to come back into what my one true love was being Klingon.
So, what does one do in CAG?
The Klingon Assault Group is a international fan club. So we do a lot of fun activities. We get together. We'll go to bars and hang out in Klingons, special community events, children appearances, hospitals, a lot of charity. It really is important to us. And I know CAG Canada as well is a major.
So I didn't make a lot of purchases, but I did get these earrings, and I got them at that booth from the Heroes in Action booth. I don't know if you can see them. They're my little Star Trek insignias. Aren't they beautiful? I love them. I love them, and they weren't expensive. I found the prices were so cheap. The restaurants we ate in, and the cocktails. We even got this is the Star Trek Next Generation special beer that they came out. I just kept it for the bottle. A little skunky, but that was New Generation. It wasn't TOS, you know. So, okay, let you get back to the film. As I said earlier, the set tour is a real highlight of our visit to Trekonderoga. And with every tour guide in every room, we learned something new about Star Trek, how it was made, how the special effects were done. And we have such fun. And just talking to the other members of the group and watching them enjoy taking pictures of each other. Listen to the sound effects on the bridge as we walk through. Okay, here's the mighty Klingon post-uniform. Yo. So there aren't a lot of hotels in Trekonderoga because it's a very small town, and until the onset of the Trek people, which by the way was quite humorous, walking down the street and everybody's in Star Trek uniforms. It's just like Trek takes over and everybody's going like this at each other and waving, and everybody's running up to you and taking their picture with you, and there's just such a nice atmosphere of camaraderie, and it's love, you know, it's like love. You can feel it. That and Libby's Bakery, oh my gosh, they had the best baked goods. And I was going to bring cookies back for my office, and I ate them all. Anyway, so let's get back to the film.
They're very organized here, but that doesn't help me at all. They don't tell me what the rules are. So, we're going to have a few categories: best recreation, best group, best youth teen, because no one wants to compete against a cute child, best Trek uniform, best presentation, it's CD Baby, and of course, best in show, and prizes to whoever I just feel like giving prizes to. We're just going to go by rows. You're going to tell me your name, your character, and do a little dance for us.
Something strange is happening. I've been forced into this contest of being from if I don't win this contest, my crew will be forced to live with my disagreement.
I am MC Spock, and I am out of here. Woo! Peter. Taggart. Quincy. Commander of the NSCA. Remember, never give up. Never surrender.
Mostly I'm trying to get everyone fitted with instruments and obedience. A lot of you here, I didn't bring enough.
We will all be assimilated by me! Three or four.
My name is simply Harry Mudd. You also know me as Leo Walsh because I've reformed. I've married a.
No tribbles in sight of me. This is very interesting this year. Instead of a costume party, we've got a costume party and part gong show.
My costume was inspired by, actually, I had a plain old red uniform, Star Trek uniform, and I thought I'd jazz it up. And I remembered the episode about the tribbles. And I remember Lieutenant Uhura was the one who brought the first little tribble creature on board the Enterprise before it multiplied and then overran the ship, because when they eat too much, they overpopulate. They are born with both genders, and they can reproduce every 12 hours. They're harmless, they're cute, they're supposed to be really good for the human nervous system. Everybody loved them. I'm not sure it was one of my favorite episodes, but I decided to cover myself in tribbles for my costume. So with a little fake fur fabric, some Velcro, and some safety pins, there I was. Unfortunately, because the schedule was so tight and there were several things going on at the same time, we missed Lee Merriweather's speech, as well as several of the other presenters that were there, and we're hoping that we'll be able to see them at another time. A crowded room waiting for the Elvis show to begin. James Cawley is really in his element. He is a high-impact performer, super talented, fabulous. Now, James's backup band was called the American Longboards. Very, very accomplished musicians, children of legends, and especially I was impressed with the drummer, Joe Pucci. One of the best drummers I have ever seen in my life, and I've seen many rock bands. His rendition of Wipeout on the drums, the Safari song, blew me away. While sitting in the hotel breakfast area, in comes Barbara Luna, still just as strikingly beautiful as she was back when she was the captain's woman. But this woman has quite a playlist of movies and TV shows she guest starred in and appeared in. And some big surprises, I think. Very, very talented lady, but we were impressed with how down-to-earth and friendly she was. And we exchanged a few friendly back and forth, light conversation. But it was just such a great memory, and we want to thank James for his vision and his creativity and his passion and drive to be able to make such a wonderful place as the original series set tours and giving back to his little town in the Adirondack Mountains. So that was our Trekonderoga experience. I hope you've enjoyed that. I know some of you who went are probably watching, and some of you makeup fans of mine are probably a little confused, but life is more than mascara. So it was a terrific weekend, and we definitely will be back.
We absolutely could not have had a better time. And the great thing about the experience is a lot of times you have a great experience at an event like Trekonderoga, and you go, well, you go back the next year and you're really disappointed. It's not the same as the first time, but what in life really is. However, every year they've had different stars from the series. This year, they had the, two of the original cast members. It does not get better than that, but we could not have had a better time. Really could not.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Long drive, but it was great. Beautiful.
And Kathy had to
scenery.
do the driving.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that was fun. That was
Yeah,
fun.
you were saying all the way, this is fun.
This is fun.
Yeah. Can't wait to get there, yes.
So we hope you too can experience the Star Trek original series set tours on your own, because they're open pretty much most of the year, aren't they? I think they close just a little bit in
They
winter.
do close in
Yeah.
the winter,
Yeah.
but you can go online and find them under Star Trek Original Tours.
Series tour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll
and
find them.
you don't have to go to the convention to go through the set tours or anything. They're actually open as an event on their own.
And the tour is only $25.
Yeah. It's even less for old people like us.
Yes, it is. We could have gone, yeah, I forgot
Bargain.
about that. We didn't
We
do
got a
that, but we
bargain.
will. We'll do that next year.
Yeah,
but,
definitely. So we hope all of you are having a wonderful week. Have a beautiful day. Live long and prosper.
Toodles.